In life, I've learned nothing good lasts forever. Even some of the greats fall off. Michael Jordan went to the Wizards, Star Wars went to Disney, Halo went to 343. And I feel like this is especially true when it comes to video games. There's a lot of games that just kind of die or outright shut down. But the most interesting ones are the ones that are almost in limbo or a slow decline. So to be short and sweet with the intro today, we're going to be looking at 3 games and figuring out why they declined so hard, and maybe taking a few lessons about why. So hopefully whatever game they make next, or whatever developer wants to make another game, can not make the same mistakes that these games did. So let's just get right into it. First game we're going to be looking at is a game by the name of Omega Strikers, and it's a MOBA that you've probably never seen before. The best way I can describe it is League of Legends meets Rocket League. As weird as that sounds. It's less soccer and more air hockey. Just hearing the word League of Legends might make you gag, but to my surprise, as someone who doesn't play like top-down MOBAs, or really MOBAs at all, it was actually really fun. I personally love when devs are able to combine genres in ways that you never would have thought of and have it work so well. It's 3v3, so your teammates matter a lot, and your character can change a lot about how you play the game. The characters are quite unique for the most part, and the visuals are quite fun. And from a personal perspective, this game was genuinely a blast to play. Out of all the games in this video, this is the one I had the most footage for, and for good reason. I just couldn't stop playing this game when I decided to play it. Even crazier, on release, it got its own studio trigger animation, and cosigns from Moist Critical and Alpharad. So why is it only hovering around 300 or 400 players daily? For the first reason is that the studio itself announced that the game isn't a priority anymore and they're moving away from it. They said it wasn't enough of a success and they had to go pivot to try something else for the sake of their studio. The honesty is commendable, but it does still suck to hear either way. I didn't just take it from the horse's mouth though. I decided to look around the community and see what the general sentiment about why this game has declined is. Some general thoughts I saw were that there were smaller updates and maintained servers for the game, but there's just no new content, so why would new players come to even play and stick around? And even when the game was out and like still being supported, the only real reason for players to play was to either grind for characters or grind for battle pass. And that adds on to the next point, is that the game just wasn't fleshed out enough at the time. It lacked a training mode, it needed better netcode, and there was no text chat, so it just kind of devolved into how Rocket League is, where you just spam what a save. That's just a bad idea in general, but especially for a MOBA where you're competing with things like League of Legends and Dota, where you have to be perfect on release. It doesn't help that the word MOBA has negative connotations for some people, even though the game wasn't a full-on MOBA. So there might have been just some people who looked at it and didn't even want to play the game because of that. A smaller thing I saw is that matches kind of started to take too long when they added a pick and ban system to longer matches, where it just became tedious and matches that lasted up to like 30 to 35 minutes, which most mobile players expect, but not really the type that's going to play things like Rocket League. The last thing I saw directly from the developers themselves is that this game was on every platform, and that included mobile. So they had to develop features specifically for that mobile version, and it held them back from bringing some much needed updates to other platforms. I think the lessons that can be taken from here is that if you're going to try and push into a genre that's really well established and has these expectations that not other genres have, then you gotta go all out and be feature complete on release. You can't be waiting for these things if you want the players to stick around. And just don't stretch out the game too thin. If this game was simply just a PC release, or maybe just PC and console, I think it might have had much more legs because those were the places that the game was most popular, and it would have allowed for more development time for these features and not having to juggle between them. Either way, I think this is a great game, and it's going to be the rare exception in one of these type of videos where I say you should just straight up play it. Like, I think even with 300 to 400 players, I think it's worth playing here, or at least giving a shot if the idea seems interesting. And even better, they said they were working on another game, and that other game is coming really soon. It's called Bite Breakers, which is a 40-player Smash Bros. Battle Royale, so they definitely like their unique ideas. I played it. I don't think you're allowed to share any footage from it, so I won't share that here, but it seems really unique, and I'm excited for it. The second game is Century Age of Ashes. This is a game where you're a dragon and you fight other people who are also dragons. Sounds like a pretty cool idea, honestly. It's very similar to a lot of like games that are like dogfighting games. I can't really think of any other popular ones besides like War Thunder, but this time it's with dragons with unique abilities. So we have that similar like unique character aspect as something like Omega Strikers. The game was honestly solid. I was having a decent time playing it. You know, I was doing pretty good in each of my matches, and I found it pretty okay. It's a unique concept, and I don't play a lot of games in this genre, so it was kind of refreshing. However, something kind of seemed off with it, and I'll kind of get into that later. And also, I played for like an hour, and I got my fix. Like, I didn't really want to play anymore. I think I experienced most of what I wanted to experience with the game. Overall, it was an okay game, but this is the roughest one in the video so far. You can make the argument that this game might as well just be dead, but I'm gonna just give it some grace and say it's declining. It's hovering around 100 players and has been for a few years now, but it's slowly creeping down. We're not lucky enough, like Omega Strikers with most companies, to have the companies admit why and how everything's gonna go down. So we're gonna have to guess from ourselves, and I've kind of tried to look in the community and see what the general sentiment is. The first thing is that the matchmaking system is very odd. Now, the reason I said I was doing pretty good and made sure to emphasize that at the beginning is that I didn't realize at the time, but I wasn't playing against actual people. I was playing against bots. So the new player experience for most people is that you play against these easy bots for a few matches, and then you get thrown into the real player base where you will get eaten alive because it is simply just veterans. And then most people will probably just quit. And there isn't really enough players still left playing the game to really make it safe for new players, so it's constantly just eating itself alive. And like I said, the gameplay kind of gets stale quickly, as a lot of people said, and it's underdeveloped with not much to really do or grind for. And the main content they just kind of added was just expensive cosmetics. Like, that's not content, that's just more things to spend money on. Sorry, Fortnite fans. Here's not really a sentiment from the community, but just kind of a personal thing I notice is that the game's just kind of too niche. Let's just take a look at something like Star Wars. Star Wars is, or at least was, a huge franchise that could basically sell whatever you put on it. Now, EA released a game called Star Wars Squadrons. This is probably the most in-depth, like, Star Wars pilot thing I've ever seen. It sold decently well, but it's just not popular because those type of dogfighting piloting games, where I know this isn't exactly in it, they're just niche. Like, most people just want to shoot things, and that's kind of the unfortunate state of the industry right now. I don't think this game was ever really destined to be super popular, but I definitely don't think it helped itself either. I'd say this game is maybe worth a try, but I doubt anyone that really watches this will stick around with it. But hey, go for it if you want to. The last game I'll be looking at is called Deceit 2. This is a sequel to Deceit 1. Shocking, I know. You could define it as an imposter game, or really just first person Among Us. That's really what it is. Also, for some reason I logged on and I'm just the Joker for some reason. It gave me a free Joker skin, so. But unlike Among Us, it's a lot more in-depth. It's almost kind of mixed with like Dead by Daylight with the amount of variety and what the survivors can do. There's 3 teams: the innocent, infected, and cursed. The innocent have to do tasks like normal, you know, like you expect in these kind of games. The infected have to kill the innocent, which, you know, that's kind of what you expect. But there's a lot of monster variety. And the cursed, which have to do their own unique task, and honestly, I still kind of don't really understand it. They all play slightly differently. It doesn't really matter because public matches kind of just devolve into randomness. And even like the few matches I've played, it's just kind of been very confusing for the most part. There's a lot of mechanics and maps, and it's just kind of hard to keep up with. It's an alright game, but it can have its silly moments. Like, my whole last match on this game was just me being the infected and just messing with randoms, and it was super, super fun. I really enjoyed it.
Did we do bad yet? Do bad.
Hold up.
Damn it.
Why are you doing? Why the
Not
no
me.
sign?
I'm the warden. I'm the warden.
What items you got though?
Oh, chill,
It's
dog.
Alex. Alex and Lisa.
Let
It
them all
must be
come
Alex
back.
and
Let them all
Lisa.
come back. It's not me. Chill. Let everybody come back. We do this task. We're almost done. We're almost in.
Jesus Christ.
Please, let's do the task.
Oh yeah, we are. Alright guys, let's do
Vote
that.
Alex. I'm sure about Stop shooting me, Jack.
Everyone stop shooting for 5 fucking minutes.
It's a vote. Vote. Okay. But this game's hovering around 300 players and is slowly declining more and more. So why is that? Well, the first one is that this game had the most botched launch of all time. So the thing with the first Deceit is I actually played the first Deceit before before I even started this YouTube channel, I think. It was an okay game, you know, it's kind of almost the exact same as this. It really isn't that different. But that game was free. When this game came out, they decided to make it paid, which was certainly a decision. And you can tell that from the Steam charts where it went to like double-digit player counts. It was getting really bad. The only reason this game has the 300 players now is because they realized, oh crap, nobody's playing this game, we gotta make it free. But some other sentiments from the community are, there's just a lot of cheaters, which seems odd in a game as small as this, but I guess that's kind of a double-edged sword. In a game as small as this, there's less cheaters, but they also have the ability to ruin more percentage of people's time, I guess. Cheaters just overall suck in games. It just ruins everything, but it's kind of is what it is. I can't really gauge this, but like I don't take this as a personal attack if you're a Deceit 2 player or whatever. But it seemed like the general air around it is that the community was kind of toxic, which certainly isn't very good when you're trying to it's a game where you're supposed to work together and work as a team to either kill the survivors or win or do your tasks or whatever. I mean, I definitely didn't really feel that too hard when I played, but I could tell that there was definitely the potential for that there. Here's another personal interjection, not really from the community, just kind of from me. Games like these don't really survive because they work better with friends, and a lot of them are designed to be played in matchmaking. Something like Among Us is a beloved game at this point, and it's played by a bunch of different people. The main thing you see with that is that people don't play that with randoms. They play it with their friends. I mean, you can play random Among Us lobbies online, but it's a lot less fun than just playing with your friends. And a lot of these games like Deceit are designed to just have matchmaking, and I just don't think that's a recipe for success. But overall, this game's maybe worth a try just to mess around in, but I'm sure most people already have their go-to deduction game. At the end of the day, I'm not really hating on any of these games. I just want as many games to thrive as possible and learn from their mistakes. The best case scenario is all these games come back and have a nice little community and still have support, but unfortunately not every game can have that, especially when there's so many live service games begging for your time. But if any of these look interesting to you, go play them. They're free and still have some players. I'm a big proponent for just playing games. There's no reason to just stick to your comfort food all the time. It's okay to go out and just try something. Even if you're not going to like it 100% or you're just going to play it for 2 hours, it's still nice to try something new every once in a while. But besides that, if you could like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, I'd appreciate that. Discord link below. Do game nights every Friday. Shout out the Patreon and YouTube members, Bungus, Mr. Bungushead, Slack, and Master Necro. And the real decline is in my channel. I'd light up a cigarette as the rain pours down. I should have made more Poppy Playtime shorts.